Hey there, welcome to Something About Tabletop. This is going to be episode 2 on gear. I am Master Blah, and with me today is...
The illustrious hobo.
Alrighty, so now we're going to start with the Electric Boogaloo, as you said. I think you said that, didn't you, last time?
Yeah, it's part two Electric Boogaloo, everything else.
Yeah. Well, everything else is probably going to be the last episode at this point, because it looks like we might clock over half an hour, we'll see. Trying to keep these down to half an hour. If you think we should go longer, comment below. But either way, let's just start it with, well, the most important thing in a Shadowrunner's life. The reason that he is a Shadowrunner and connected to the world. What is it, Hobo? Can you guess what I'm thinking of?
I'm gonna say a comlink or a fake sin.
It's a comlink. Because you can actually run without a fake sin.
Yes, you can. It's not recommended.
Yeah, not recommended, but you cannot run without a comlink because the reason you got the job is because you have one. It's like these days, but like the extremeness of how much people need phones has gone to an all new level in 2075 or 76, I think it is. Yeah.
It's fine though. A burner phone is only worth like, I don't know, 100 cups of coffee or something like that. I think coffee's like 5 new yen. Burner phone's 100.
Yeah, 20. So 20 cups of coffee. But yeah, basically, in the future, in this feature at least, PCs have almost gone redundant. Pretty much only hackers and things like that even bother using them because your comlink is so freaking strong and so powerful, and memory is just on cloud servers, which is where we're actually heading these days, in my opinion at least. You know.
Well, we're definitely moving there, but as any network security person would tell you, all wireless is most certainly not the future.
Oh no! But cloud is a big one. I mean, obviously, no corporation is probably going to be running off of a cloud, but everyday people most certainly can. And people can generally keep up clouds for free because they just, look at the data that you're using and give it to advertisers. That kind of stuff. So, yeah, let's get started. I mean, the comlinks are just done by rating, and they go up in price, pretty much like everything else in this book. But what's the one that you see used the most, at least at character creation?
It's really a hard one because I'm the sort of guy who hung out with the crowd of mages. So the most common comlink I saw was the Metalink, and it was like, we'll do one job, and the first thing we're buying is a better comlink.
I usually snap up the Renraku Sensei because it's the middle of the rung, just 1,000, it's affordable. It's not like the fucking fair Trans Avalon and 5,000, which is, a fair chunk of budget sometimes.
On Street Sams, I tend to see like the Hermes Icon because or the Erica Elite because they tend to have a bit more leftover cash than mages do. Mages are very strapped for cash at character generation.
Mm-hmm. And of course, of the complexity of gear, and when it comes to Matrix stuff, is you can slave things to things, and then their firewall becomes the firewall of everything else on it through the wireless. So what you can actually do is, if you have a shit deck, you slave it to your comlink that's, say, a rating 6 comlink, its firewall becomes 6. Yay!
And, you can still attack from your deck, so your deck just has to do the counterattacking. It's, it
so
all works out.
You don't even need your firewall high. You just slave it to your comlink. There is some other downsides to that, but I think there is. It's pretty corner case, though, the downsides to that. But, I mean, corporations do it, so why can't you? Anyway, so that's definitely something you want to do as a decker, is to get a Transys Avalon and slave your deck to it, because we'll get to Cyberdecks later, but they've got a whole thing going on about them in terms of how they are used. I mean, I'm not even sure if we'll cover that kind of stuff. We might have to do a whole video on deckers, which is definitely
Deckers need their own video. There's way too many little tips and tricks and little things you can do to possibly
so
cover it all.
I guess what we'll do is we'll keep it simple with the deckers, and we'll do our own Matrix video later. I don't know when, but let's just talk about Cyberdecks, the ones that you think are pretty good. I mean, the one that I see the most is the best you can get at character creation, which is the Sony CIY 720. It's $345,000, availability 12. I see that the most personally. What do you see?
Do you see what I see? In terms of decks?
Yeah, do you just see the best one?
I usually see the Renraku's
Tsurugi.
Tsurugi. Tsurugi.
Bloody
Sorry.
butchered that.
Sorry, my Japanese isn't what it used to be, and by that I mean I could actually phonetically say it at one point. Now I can't.
Yeah.
I tend to see that, but if you don't see that, I mean, some people use the Sony, like the Sony CIY 720, but I actually just see like the Renraku get used a hell of a lot more, and I mean, maybe it's the cost blow, but for whatever reason, whenever I took the Deckers, they just seem to insist that like you buy a Renraku and you never need to really upgrade.
Yeah, I just think getting the best early. That's just something ingrained in me. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I know it's weird, but I've like, it's just weird. They seem to think that like for whatever reason the Renraku is better than the Sony. I don't know why.
it's not. I mean, cost-wise, so one is $214,000, one is $345,000. So for roughly about $130,000 extra, you're getting an extra device rating, which is relevant for damage reduction tests. You're getting plus 3 more stats in total, 1 extra program. I don't know. I think that's kind of worth it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, maybe they just see it like in the sort of sense that you buy the second best deck you can get at character gen, and then you just get stuff like cerebral boosters to make up for the loss in extra stats.
The stats don't really add to your dice pools, though. Except for defense tests, they're generally not used for attack tests. It's your limits. But I mean, if you're
That's
making an
true.
edge decker, so who cares?
Well, limits are kind of fickle because you have things like you have overclocker and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it's very easy.
We will cover that in another video. Jesus, I just realized how long that's going to get.
It's gonna be so long.
Okay, so let's talk about. I'm just looking at here some little electronics accessories that every single character should have.
AR
And
gloves.
what are they? AR gloves. At least. What else do you need? If you ever want to go under, you want
explain why
Sinrid.
AR gloves are good?
Yeah, so this game is really silly, right? It says this whole AR thing's a thing, but it doesn't really explain it really well unless you actually 100% read the book, which we all know people don't. But you need AR gloves to be able to interact with AR, augmented reality. I mean, most of the time I just don't care, because in my opinion, if you've got a cerebral link to your brain through a D-Link, it could quite easily code in where your hands are, so you could actually enact with the world, in my opinion. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole
But
other thing.
AR gloves are a good must pick up. And the other one, in my opinion, from this one, sub-vocal mic.
Yeah, so this allows, what's it give? A -4 dice pool modifier is applied to perception test to overhear you when you're sub-vocalizing. So this is like, if you've ever played, Metal Gear, he uses a sub-vocal mic and stuff like that. You know, so you can talk to your team while you're sneaking instead of just talking like this, which, you'd get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, like the sub-vocal mic just makes it harder for you to be heard.
Though, mind you, in my opinion, because if people have a data link or trodes or anything like that, I allow people to send just text messages with their mind, because why couldn't you? If you can control the thing with your mind, why can't you send text messages? Which you kind of can. And I just allow people to do this on the fly, because in my opinion, it wouldn't take much effort.
Considering how you navigate it, it wouldn't necessarily be hard.
I mean, if you already have the window up, it would just be like boom, 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 boom.
Yes,
Just like
it's a couple of hand gestures away from sending a quick text.
even then, in my opinion, you wouldn't even need hand gestures if you just used just your mind to do it. But this is the whole that's the thing with the Matrix. It's like how much the DM wants to interpret the technology, and depending on that, everyone experiences it differently. But we'll talk about that in another video. The more we talk about this section, it's more like, damn, we need to do a video on this shit.
Yeah, the last thing I have to say, because there are a lot of cool small things you can get in the electronic section, but for the most part, the only must-have, and this is only for people who are mages or adepts, is your trodes. You need them to hook up to your comm links. Because you don't have a data jack. That costs essence, and you ain't having none of that.
And if you do, you should probably rethink about why you're doing it. Unless you're doing like a weird build with logic enhancers or like extra armor. I mean, it can work.
I mean, like, if you've got some essence left over from some other augmentations, go ahead, but don't just get a data jack and lose a whole point of magic. It's so pointless.
Yeah, I have seen people try to do it though.
No.
Here's another hidden gem of the electronics, which is RFID tags. Hobo, why are they so cool and why are they so important?
RFID tags. You mean the things that control nearly everything because we've gone full wireless?
And also allow you to track things easily. Oh, look, the vehicle's getting away. Slap enough stealth RFID tag on there. Boom. Now your decker can track that shit easily. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, not to mention, apparently. Well, I mean, you have different types of stamp tags. You have your security tags, which cannot be erased. You cannot use a tag eraser to erase a security tag. But a stealth tag is actually running silent on the wireless. It's the trade-off you make. I read this up. I had to.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit. Anyway, other than that, there's like all the jammers and scanners and all this kind of stuff, which are really good for people that want to interact with the Matrix but not be a decker. Because, in my opinion, I've seen deckers are usually better than a jammer, and they're usually better than a bug scanner. But for people who aren't on the Matrix that well, these kind of devices are awesome because it allows them to Matrix perception easily for bugs and jam areas without having to have a deck.
Well, for the most part, I see them used at meets. Like, like people carry the jammers and the white noise generators in their pockets, and then just put them advert them and put them on the table as a double layer of security for themselves when they're going to the meet.
Yeah.
Because most of the time your Johnson or your meet's going to have everything on electronic paper just in case there's someone fussy like that.
Yeah, and then there's the collections of softwares. We got Datasofts, Mapsofts, Shopsofts, and Tutorsofts, and agents and cyber programs. These are a lot of the time overlooked, especially Datasofts, Mapsofts, and Shopsofts. But you do see some people using them, and when they do, they're like, "Oh, this is actually really good."
For the most part, that usually doesn't get seen until you are dealing with a language you don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at it here because, to be honest, I don't use Shopsofts, but it actually gives you a +1 to your social limit for all availability and negotiation checks when you try to buy or sell items.
Which is really good for anyone who isn't the face.
Yeah, which is awesome, and they don't cost much. How much do they cost? Shopsoft, 150. Fuck all.
Yeah, no, Shopsofts are good, but the thing is you have to get things capable of running the softs. I mean, I like Mapsofts because it just makes... I think it actually makes your traveling around the city quicker.
Mapsoft. Okay. At Game Master's discretion, Mapsofts provide a +1 limit bonus to navigation tests. That's it. +1 limit.
To be fair, though, I don't think I've ever seen anyone ask for a navigation test unless you're in the Sahara.
Yeah, pretty much, at least in my opinion, coming from a person who lives in the world of Google Maps, their Google Maps is better than ours. So...
Yeah.
Yeah. At least in my opinion, it's better. It would have to be better. Like, technology is only going to go up.
Well, it's just one of those cases where, navigation is such a niche skill that, you need it, but, you kind of why isn't this under driving? Or, why is it navigation specifically for, under survival?
Mm-hmm. Alright, and then of the softs as well, these are skill softs. These are the premium ones because these actually give you more of a statistical bonus. Whether literally no softs, literally just knowing skills without having to put points into it. Active softs, which are the same, but you need skill-wise to use them, or same as no softs. And linguasofts, which is the same thing pretty much. I don't think you need... you don't need a skill-wise system for that, which we'll talk about later. Have you? I never see people really use these, man, because skill-wise, for one, is very essence and money intensive. So I just don't see people getting it.
I just don't from what I understand. The only build I've ever had anyone talk about in regards to skill-wise is someone you make an edge character, and you just have skill-wise, so then you can be anything. So you use it for if you have a lot of money, jack of all trades, but at the same time, you can kind of replicate that with edge and skills a day.
Actually, something I just thought of would be really hilarious is taking the jack of all trades trait and heaps of money skill-wise, skills a day, and just going bananas.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because it's
that'd be a lot of fun, actually.
I think it's because it's very complex that we just don't see it a lot. I think a lot of people are just still they can't see the immediate benefit nor value in it, so they're just still why would I want to bother with all that?
It does seem like a lot, and there's a lot of rules with skill-wise as well when we do cover it. There's a lot. All right, here's a biggie. ID and credits. I mean, while it's probably not big to
Ooh.
talk about, it's something that you need. Motherfucker, get a high rating sin, or you're gonna just get fucked when you go any. If a cop pulls you over and you're like, "Here's my rating 1 sin," and they're like, they just look at you, and then you get arrested. So you have to shoot
Oh,
cops.
they look at you because essentially you've handed them like a poorly laminated piece of paper that says "totally not," like so, totally legal.
Rating 1 sins are usually like from dead people and stuff like that. You know, and seeing as
Yeah.
sins are, I think sins are usually on the internet. They're not actually laminated these days, but I like to think they are just for funsies. But yeah, it's definitely something I always get rating for, and I say rating for because it's the highest you can get. It's $10,000
Character gen.
a character gen. $10,000. You've got it, and it's awesome.
And here's the point, because you can get a rating 6 sin, but here's the reason why that might not necessarily be a good thing to do. When you have a rating 5 sin, all the information about how you look and like basically the picture, it all looks good, but they don't actually have your biometrics on file. If you have a rating 6 sin, it has the correct biometrics.
Yeah. Everyone kind of handles the whole sin thing a little bit differently. But what I like to do is that when people, you don't get arrested if it's kind of like the scanner fucks up and goes, yeah, this sin is fake. What I like to do is they get the cops to go, okay, we're going to go to the cop station, we're going to get your biometrics and check if it's the same as the sin. If it's not, we've got a problem. And I've had characters get into that situation a few times, and they were able to get out through spoofing with the Decker and stuff like that. But that does mean hacking into Ares or some shit, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like you have to be careful, because the reason why having being a sinner and being a Shadowrunner is bad is because they have your biometrics, which is the reason why you don't necessarily always want to get a rating 6 sin, because then they have your biometrics.
Yeah, they have your biometrics tied to another name. So that means that when you spill your own blood at a crime scene, they scan it and they know who that sin is and where you live with that sin. And usually with the fake sin, you have a home tied to that fake sin. You don't have to. Or maybe you have a crappy little lifestyle that's tied to that fake sin you don't go to, which is more legitimate. I mean, as Shadowrunners go, they get more and more like secondary lifestyles. They just use as, you know, run-of-the-mill places and stuff.
Yeah, I tend to see rating 6 sins as that's your retirement sin, or like you have a dependent who is a sinner who is sinless. That's your you guys can have a sin now sort of thing. Or I'm going to retire. Better buy a rating 6 sin because I still need to be like if I need to, I have to go off the grid at a moment's notice.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty. Next we got the optical and vision enhancements and audio enhancement devices, and these are something that should be on every single one of your characters, apart from weird technophobic characters that are tribal. And I mean, those characters are fine, but these should be on every single one. Like, absolutely every single one.
You don't want to talk about licenses?
Oh yeah, sorry. Cover licenses. Licenses are pretty quick. Basically, just choose a thing that is usually restricted, forbidden, and now it isn't for you.
Yeah, for the most part, licenses is kind of quick, but there's kind of a thing. In our circle, it doesn't come up a lot, because usually it's like they only check your licenses usually if the fake sin doesn't go through, because it's like,
what I do is that it might, how it would be is if you have a sin and it is electronic data stored, it would probably be, your license would be directly tied. So they scan your sin, they scan your licenses. And as long as the license rating is the same as the sin, I don't make them roll it separately. But if it's lower, then I probably will.
Yeah, but you have to be careful with that as a runner, because licenses are an easy one to forget about, but they're very important, especially if you get kind of caught with guns and you like. That's the grand dilemma, you know. Cop pulls you over, you get an assault rifle in the back of the car, or even just a normal pistol, but you don't have a license.
Yeah, and sometimes people forget that some things are illegal. Like, oh yeah, I've got a license for my gun. Yeah, but what about that silencer on your gun?
Well, actually, the big one is kind of like, I believe armored jackets are actually restricted. Like, you need a license to own them.
Are they? Wow, yeah. Didn't know that.
I'll have a quick check, but I'm pretty sure armored like jacket. No, they're not. Sorry, my bad. But like high fashion armor usually is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, don't you think the Sleeping Tiger
wow,
is
that's
not?
weird.
No, any other.
Sorry,
armor
not
is.
armor, but like you get what I'm saying. Though, like even comlink, I think comlinks is one of them as well. Like if you have like a decent comlink, you can. They actually have like certain availabilities because they get really high.
We were just checking him out, and I didn't see it.
Maybe I've just gone crazy. Maybe I've been doing things wrong this entire time. Who knows?
I mean, half the time, some would go to the extreme of having a freaking license for every gun. Just one weapons license is fine for me.
Firearms license.
Firearms.
Yeah. Sorry, that was the big one people forget. Don't forget your mage and adept license. It's kind of important.
Yeah, it is.
And Bioware is another one. Yeah, Bioware and Cyberware.
Bioware, you can kind of get away with because they can't tell easily, and by the time you're getting a scan, things can go a little bit wrong. On your rating 6, Sin, sure, but your rating 4, I generally don't even bother with a Bioware license. Cyberware, that is obvious, always. But, yeah. Anyway, optical and audio devices. These are your sunglass specs that are computer screens and the contacts that beam information into your eye. And
it's the exact reason why you can wear sunglasses at night and it can be okay.
Yeah, because they probably don't actually work as sunglasses.
No, they're not. They're just like, it's tinted on one side but not your side, bro. You're fine.
Yeah. So, they're really important, and especially for characters that don't have cyber eyes, I always get contacts with SmartLink and ImageLink in it. Maybe low light if it can fit. I think it can.
Yeah. I think for the most part, it's always worthwhile to pick up basic contacts with just ImageLink on them. And if you don't have like a lot of money, like you're a mage, I still think like it's bare bones. Just get like ImageLink contacts because they're very good.
That is 225 new yen. And I mean, if you wanted to get glasses with it, that's fine. That's only 125.
Which means you can stay in contact with your team so well they can send you images of the target or like what you need to look at. You're not totally cut off to pulling out your phone every 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's also why you have earbuds or headphones as well to use, which are really good too. They allow you to stream sound to your ears. And earplugs are just good. Like the little earbuds are great. And my favorite one is the base one I love getting is Select Sound Filter. Oh, you're at like a concert, but you need to be paying attention for certain things. You can literally filter out the music from the concert or the crowd. Yep,
they're fantastic.
Yeah, so each rating on it, because this rating system allows you to select a single sound group, such as footsteps, patrolling guard, or roars of a distant helicopter, and focus on it. So you're focusing on certain sounds, you're not getting rid of other sounds.
I believe one of them actually can, like, remove it, though.
Well, if you want to listen to someone talking, you just listen to them talking.
Yeah, because it tells everything else down. It kind of begins to filter out things.
Yeah, that's select sound filter. And of course there's audio enhancement and visual enhancement, so you can actually really up your perception. Though I find it a bit cheesy, so I don't do it on all my characters, because it's really easy just to get rating 3.
Spend, I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I just sometimes don't, because it's like, whatever. Oh, dude, you can totally get a monocle.
Oh, yeah, but I've never known anyone to ever have a monocle. I mean, also, mage sight goggles, so good. They literally come with fiber cable that you can put around corners to see. Line of sight spells.
What is so good about the monocle? It's 3,000 new yen.
It's classy. It makes you look like a cyber gentleman in a dystopian cyberpunk future.
Oh no, dude, the monocle is actually a headband or helmet with a flip-down arm.
That's awesome.
Oh,
okay,
no, sorry. You can go for the old-fashioned look on a chain.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I mean, look at that, dude.
Jesus. I just don't get why it's $3,000. I think that's a mistake. That has to be a mistake.
I think that's a mistake, because I'm looking in Chama right now, and it's like 1,200 for the base level monocle, and like for rating 4, it's like 4,800.
That's even worse. Jesus, why is it so expensive when contacts are cheaper and they can actually get up to that rating? Glasses are the same. Well, that's weird. Anyway, yeah, pretty much get them on everything. At least you always got to get image link because it's really, really necessary.
I mean, when people
Um,
send you texts like "he's behind you, gonna stab you," you can be all like, "Wow, better check my phone to see what message was sent." No, it just pops up, and then you avoid getting stabbed.
All right, here we go. This one is a bit annoying to me, but this is the sensors. So the rules written on these are shit. But
Yes.
I think I've worked it out. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you buy it's got all these random charts. It's on page 446. You buy a sensor, right? An array or whatever it is. And depending on its rating, you get a number of free sensors with the rating equal to the rating that you got. We're on the same page now?
Dude, it's far. I didn't even like. My understanding was that you could only go up to rating in like that, like a single sensor was only one sensor, but the rating determined like the limit, and then it was whatever you put in.
Yeah, I think so. So it's like, nonetheless, they're a literal head fuck.
Yeah,
So-
and for the most part, you're mostly getting it for ultrasound because, god damn it, you want to be able to see the majors.
Yeah, but what's on them is awesome. I mean, you can get mad scanners, lay a shit Geiger counter for some reason, motion sensors, olfactory scanner.
Nah, dude, Glow City. It's important to know where you step.
Yeah, true that. Vision magnification, mind you just get that in your eyes, in my opinion. I don't know why
Even
that's a
then,
sensor.
like, to be fair, sensors actually have a lot of functions that we wouldn't see normally. Like, if you were to be a Shadowrunner and have to set an ambush, motion sensors. There's a whole bunch of sensors we don't actually get to use because they only have very specific use.
Also, they're just annoying and clunky and just
Yes.
and sometimes I just want to get straight to the action, and I mean, I'm going to say this just as a truth here. This is not necessarily about gear, but I just scrub over a lot of rules and just say, yeah, just roll this many dice because it's just easier. And you know that is a problem with Shadowrun is it can get a bit clunky.
It's got almost too much crunch in times, and well, it probably has the right amount of crunch, just poorly laid out. So it makes some rules just a pain to learn. So you just house rule it.
All right, so that's pretty much all the technological and matrix stuff. Looks like we won't be getting to the Chrome till next episode. So
You want to talk about crowbars and
that's going to be an etc. Like all that kind of stuff that's not necessarily electrical, because we've gone all through all the electrical stuff this session. So
okay.
okay. So yeah, we'll probably do that another time. Everything else, all the ridiculous breaking and entering gear and stuff that I'm checking here, and toxins and things in another episode entirely. But I think next episode we'll be doing Chrome. So check it out then. I am Master Blah.
And I am Hobo preparing for surgery.
Thank you, and this was something about tabletop.